Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been quite a bit since we had a battle cast, or any video for that matter. DLC is coming up. I'm somewhat excited for it. I can say I'm not looking forward to too much of it compared to other DLCs, simply because of the price gouging and all that sorts of crap going on. But I will be covering it when it comes out because I'm quite excited for a lot of the units, especially the fact that Beastmen are getting kind of a DLC themselves, and then the units also love it. Today, though, we have a Greenskins versus Nurgle battle. On the Nurgle side of things, we do have a Soul Grinder and Kugath, so a bit of an artillery core. A couple Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, and then a couple Cultists of Nurgle. Very hard to remove pretty much everything here. For the Greenskin side of things, this is my army going very, very wide. Basically the meta for Greenskins. Now, I'm not going to claim that this is the most meta army for the Greenskins because I am not that good. But pretty much the same idea does apply. Lots of Orc boys across the line, a bunch of Orc Arrow boys, which are extremely good, and then some Goblin Wolf Rider archers, Savage Boar boys on this side, just kind of taking over this flank over here. Wurzag is key to this army because of his Bonewood Staff, gives a bonus of 12 melee attacks, some charge bonus to the entire map for 17 seconds whenever he casts spells, so extremely, extremely good. You're just basically going to be spamming spells with him. I only took Brain Buster. I think it would have been better. Oh, I got Fists of Gork too. So trying to spam those two spells off cooldown, and we should get a lot of buffs for the entire army across the entire map. So, making a play for all the points. Hard on 3. Basically, this is completely free for me. Ooh, lots of nice artillery damage from the Soul Grinder there. Getting a good head start on the damage value. Just shooting out these Goblin Wolf Rider Arrow boys. I probably shouldn't have thrown them so far up. That skirmishing is not going in my favor. Then again, it does keep the Soul Grinder from shooting probably more valuable pieces, so we're okay with it for now. 10 seconds, all these points will unlock. I think I'm going to be able to get point 3 very easily, as well as point 2. Point 1, not so much. I've only sent a single Orc boys, and all of the Goblin Wolf Riders over there to try and skirmish off the Marauder Horsemen. So there's a chance we can get that point. The goal is to try and get all of these. Let's see how this main engagement goes down over here. Soul Grinder's going to find a nice little spot in between these two pillars to keep from getting shot to pieces. I do have a lot of DACA in the back. As you can see, they start unloading. He does have 90 armor, though. That being said, though, Orc Arrow boys do have very, very good missile strength. 18 with 6 armor piercing. So not bad when it comes to punching through heavily armored monsters. We did get point 1 and 2. Or, sorry, point 3 and 2. 1 is being contested. That's going to be a bit of a back and forth between me and my opponent. We're running these Marauder Horsemen over. We're going to intercept with some Squig Herd, and we've summoned the entire herd of Squigs to come and overwhelm this point 1. My opponent has brought some Plague Bearers, which are going to be really hard to remove. They are probably going to trade fairly well into the Squigs. Squigs are anti-infantry, but these guys don't have armor. They have physical resist, so they'll probably be a lot harder for me to remove with just Squigs on that part. Plague Toads coming in, really nice, just taking out these archers. I tried to come around and flank them from the side, but it left me open to be flanked myself, and I didn't have some Savage Orc Biggins that are on their way in there in time to kind of protect that. So not the best play for me. I've still taken point 2, but it is going to be a bit of a back and forth. My opponent has a bit more staying power. I'm kind of making the move to snipe Kugath here. Let's see if it'll be worth it. Probably not. Nurgle has really good healing, and Kugath is just not an easy piece to remove. So we'll see if that's worth it or not. Point 2 is starting to go to my opponent, because I just did not have anything to grind through these Chaos Warriors of Nurgle. So that's not going to go too well for me. Point 2 is starting to be quickly taken by my opponent. Soul Grinder's getting in the melee to try and shut down those archers. Point 3 is very safely mine, though. We have a single unit of Orc boys. We are Wahing right now, which is going to help us to a degree. Point 2 already got cleared up, so it's really not the most effective Wah. I probably could have saved it for a better time. It is going to help us very much with point 1. Again, tons of Squigs just overwhelming that entire point there. The Mangy Marauders and a couple other Skirmish Cav, I think, are just on the flanks, cleaning up stuff, running things off the battlefield. So these archers didn't actually fare too bad. I'm really surprised by this, because the Plague Toads have an anti-infantry, and they only took out a single one of those archers. The Savage Orc Biggins came in and have just really been wiping them, so pretty happy with that engagement, honestly. That looked like it was pretty terrible for me. Over here, point 2, very much not ours, being pushed off it entirely. We are bringing a couple more reinforcements just to keep up the pressure. I do have the 2 points, which is what I mainly want. I just want to try and get a strict lead on these points. And as you can see, the point value lead is in my favor. Now, a lot of this is probably being healed by Kugath. Now, that's okay. It's not the best thing, so this is a bit inflated, I'm sure, just because Kugath has... Well, he's very expensive, and he's lost half his HP, and there's definitely some healing that has gone down on him. So it's not as good as it looks, but hey, the fact that we're holding 2 points and doing pretty well with the value is a definite bonus. Wurzog's getting a little bit gooned here. We've got the Soul Grinder and both Cultists coming in, all supported by some Marauders. Looks like we got some Hounds. Yep, a bunch of Hounds going in there. But this engagement might go pretty well for us. We got some Boar Boys and a couple of Archers shooting in. Not too bad. Point 3 is just chilling. Nurglings are coming over to see if they can pressure it. I don't think that'll be a problem at all for the Orc Boys to remove, so not too worried about that one. Over here, we're actually starting to pressure point 2. All of his infantry came off the point, and so we moved up the Archers ever so slightly to start capping the point from that angle, as well as the Savage Orc Biguns. And so point 2 is actually being pressured, which is really good for us, because if we can get all 3 points, we can get a lead here and then hopefully just die on a single point, which would be kind of the game plan at this point. 1, we are slowly losing, which is not going to be too much of an issue, because we haven't really been sending too much of a reinforcement. Like, this hasn't been overly contested. We've just thrown a bunch of squigs, which are super cheap, so pretty happy with the fact that I got a lot of points off of point 1. I'm gonna basically abandon that one coming up here soon, so not too worried about it. Another Wa pops. Again, maybe not the best Wa. There's only a few melee engagements going on the map, so I kind of just am clicking the button whenever it comes up. I don't think that is paying off as well as it could be, so definitely could be doing better with my Wa management. As you can see, Kugath is healing up a ton. He's actually hit his healing cap. We've been just focus firing him, which is, again, getting us lots of value. We are ahead of our opponent, but so much of that is probably just Kugath, so I wouldn't even be surprised if we're behind in value at this point, because it's only about a 1,000-point lead, and Kugath is really expensive, at least triple that, so not too confident with my lead, but we are really happy with the points lead we are getting up here. Soul Grinder's starting to push off a bunch of our infantry. Point 3 is starting to be contested very well. We're going to bring up all of our shooting as well as Wurzog and potentially some more summons. Yep, nasty Skulkers coming in. See if we can remove what is currently on this point and make sure we can keep point 3, because that's going to be a super important one if we're giving up point 1. Which, again, probably not the worst idea. I did summon some nasty Skulkers just to keep a hold of this point ever so slightly longer. See, that point's going to start going back to our cap, so definitely worth it. Once point 1 is gone, though, and point 2 already lost, we're going to be in a hurt here. Pretty soon, we're going to get to the point where we can actually just hold 1 point and win. I think we have to get about 1,000 points ahead of our opponent, so we're nearing there. We're closing that gap. Soul Grinder is still causing us problems. He does cause terror, so he's just been routing us back and forth. These archers are next to be routed off, I'm sure. But he is getting very low. He's probably got a lot of value here. Yep, over 1,000 value. Not too bad. Oh, we have the 8 pink loonies. I did not notice that. Unbreakable, totally forgot about that bit. So that's really going to help us anchor this point 3. They are fairly squishy, but unbreakable infantry is really, really nice for keeping things away from the point for a decent amount of time. As you can see, all this doggo shatter, and point 3 is feeling really, really good. Soul Grinder's about to break. Wurzog himself is getting in there, chasing it down, and we're looking really pretty on this side of the battlefield. Now, things over at point 1 are starting to turn back. It looks like I've got some squig herd back there I probably need to desummon or utilize in some way. Point 1 is slowly headed back towards my opponent. Those single unit and nasty skulkers held on to it for a little bit longer. Definitely nice, but again, not really planning on holding that for too much longer, though it looks like I'm sending even more resources with the Savage Orcs. I don't know if they'll get there in time to keep points going at all, so maybe not worth it. I probably should reroute them. I guess I'm not going to get through point 2, so not looking too good either which way. We've got about, what, 600 points our opponent needs. Yeah, so at this point, we have passed the metric. We just need to hold on to a single point in order to win, I do believe, because we need, what, yeah, 600 points, and he needs over 2K, over 1,200 points. So we're feeling pretty good. We just have to guard point 3 for the rest of the game, which is going to be pretty difficult, because Nurgle is fairly tanky, and Kugath is still artillerying us down. He is plenty healthy. He has his healing cap, but he's getting tons of value, ludicrous amounts of value. And again, that point lead is about the same, but probably not really in my favor because so much damage was put on Kugath. I mean, we've almost killed him entirely with that healing, so that's like 3,000 gold. I'm probably actually fairly behind on the point lead if you take Kugath out of the equation. There is no healing for the Greenskins on this side of things. I did not bring any trolls, no regen, so there's no inflation on my side of things. But, you know, Wurzog's still doing pretty great. He's been popping spells down. Really good value there, 1,500. Not too bad at all. Here comes another one. Looks like it's going to deal pretty good amount of friendly damage to the Nasty Skulkers, but definitely could have done that one a little bit better. Again, over here, point 1, basically abandoned. We did find the Squig herd they're running over, as well as potentially these Orc boys, just to kind of keep my opponent on his toes. Ooh, Nasty Skulkers stocked right there. I could really kind of pressure that point 1. I do want to keep all these guys over here instead of desummoning them because it keeps my opponent on his toes, keeps him thinking, oh crap, maybe I need to send more resources to point 1, at which point we're going to be having less to deal with over here at point 3. So we've pulled back from point 3, which is really dangerous because these doggos, I think, probably should have just sat on the point and started capping it. Luckily for me, my opponent went right in, and the bad news is Kugath is there and he's starting to take it out. And at this point, things are looking really dire because if we lose point 3, it's basically over. Again, if we hold on to that single point, we can still technically win the game, but Kugath's going to be a monster to remove, so we'll see how well we can hold on to that. Savage Orc Biggins headed in, as well as some Orc Arrow boys. We still got some stragglers in the back over here. We're going to make a bit of a run with the leftovers that were headed to point 2 over to point 1. We have a little bit to actually pressure this. The Nasty Skulkers are sitting on the point, so there's a chance that we can hopefully drag some of our opponent's attention over there. It's really nice that the cultists are over here, because if they were over here, they'd be breaking this point much, much, much faster. Kugath, still at 8k HP. We are focus firing him, but it's going to be so hard to remove him. I think we're in a pretty good position, though, because we've got Savage Orc Biggins, which are that anti-large, and then a bunch of arrows just shooting into him. He may hopefully be removed here soon enough. Point 3 is being a bit pressured by my opponent, sending some Marauders as well as Chaos Warhounds. The value's still very much the same. It's going to get real close here. If we can just hold on to point 3, we should be fine. I don't know if these Marauders are going to be enough. It looks like the Chaos Warhounds are maybe going to be able to nibble Wurzog off the field, though I don't know. He's a pretty good melee combatant. He might be able to beat him. It's not looking too promising, but we'll check back on him in a minute. As you can see, Kugath is seeing the fact that he needs to get on to point 3. Really low HP, though. He's starting to get, 4k. He's lost half of what he had just a few moments ago. So that's looking pretty good for us. However, the cultists are coming in and getting on top of the archers. Definitely not what we want. Shutting down that shooting is very bad for us. We are popping a wall here, and that pressure on point 1's starting to pick up again. He's throwing some extra Nurglings. He's bringing another cultist over. A lot of the pressure that we have here, even though it's scraps, is forcing my opponent to send resources this way, which is actually super imperative for us keeping point 3. As you can see, this point is starting to be capped, and if those units were over here, we would be in big, big trouble. Kugath down to 2.8k. He's getting lower and lower by the second. Beautiful volley. Takes about 600 to 700 HP right off of him. We love to see it. Savage Orc boys are coming in for a nice rear charge on these Marauders. Beautiful damage going in on them. Not too bad, and the point is starting to be capped by us as we bring some more Savage Orc boar boys and some Squigs. At this point, point 3 is starting to look really, really good for us, which is super duper key. Kugath is starting to, what is that term called? Dissipate? I don't know. Disappear. He is gone. We have removed him from the field, which is super imperative. Wurzog himself was removed as well, so it's not the best, but we have a lot of resources to hold point 3 here. We're starting to feel a little bit confident, potentially. We have lost everything over here at point 1, and point 2 obviously not being contested at all, and our opponent is starting to bring in as much as he can. The Plague Toads, more Marauders. I wonder why they're walking around the long way. That seems a bit, maybe not the best of ideas. Anyway, Chaos Warriors and Nurgle, they're going to be hard for us to remove. We do have still the Savage Orc Boar Boys, which are going to be really, really good. That armor piercing is super imperative. And a bit of Daka, a lot of shooting, which is going to be also super duper imperative. These Squigs are going to be super duper useful. So far, 8 Peak Loonies, looks like they're still here. My opponent is not bringing enough to pressure this point 3. Let's speed it up a little bit here and see if he does bring that around. Because if he lets us, we will just sit on this point and win. All right, Fury's coming in on the back. They're going to shut down some of the Squigs. maybe not the best target to go for, since Squigs are anti-infantry and Furies are infantry-sized models, so they're going to get picked off relatively easy. Not much of a threat, and I don't think that would have been the best summon, though they probably came up a lot earlier. So I'm sure my opponent was just trying to get rid of them. I would have thrown them on the archers. Regardless, they don't have capture weight, so it's not too important. Again, we're only 200 points away. This is going to be a pretty darn close game because nothing is over here pressuring point 1 or 2. It looks like I've got some Goblin Wolf archers that could do that. I should be clicking on those, but everyone's focus is on this point 3. If my opponent can bring enough, he's got Chaos Warriors, the Marauders, a couple Cav, Plague Toads, and Chaos Warhounds. I'm just shoveling infantry this direction as well as Squig Herd. This is going to be a rumble and a half. Looks like we got the Cultists and a couple more Nurglings from this end coming in. We're still holding. We are holding this point real well. We're keeping all of our stuff, our skirmishers and everything in place, just sitting on point 3, keeping it. And so far, so good. Some more hounds coming in from the side. The bad news here is we don't have Wurzog on the field to buff up these units, and I don't think we're going to get another Wah. So we're probably trading down, though the value is still the same as before. Again, Kugath's healing, probably not as good for me as it looks just yet. Bringing in some more Nurglings. Is that going to tip the capture weight? Not just yet. Some nasty Skulkers coming in. Man, we only have 100 points left. Are we going to be able to hold this point? Here he comes with the other Cultist. Man, that guy is slow. He is making his way over so slow. 34 speed. You'd think he'd be here by now. Maybe he's getting caught up with something. Point 1 over there. I did come over for just a second. Marauder Cav. There's so much stuff going on here at point 3. We're only 60 points away. If it starts tipping, it could be bad for us, but so far so good. Bringing in the Nurglings. Chaos Warriors holding super strong. We're just holding that point 3. Are we going to be able to do it? Relatively close battle. More hounds coming in. That tips the capture weight. It's starting to head towards the Nurgle if he can bring it back. Oh, he's got some infantry units sitting on the side. We bring all the cav in, desperate to try and keep the capture rate. It's moving up. We're only 17 points away. We'll start the countdown. 10, 9. Oh, look at that capture weight. He's bringing in these infantry units. Is it going to be close? Oh, snap. And we barely take it. Clutch ending there. Very, very close. Bit of a slow battle, I will not lie. But relatively exciting. Just a slog between the two of us. Who is the better green monster, I guess, between Nurgle or Wurzog? We barely pulled out the win there. Wurzog getting pretty decent value. All these boar boys doing awesome for themselves. A lot of these units just super cost effective. Well, I mean, they were shooting into Kugath for the errors, so that makes a lot of sense. Boar boys Orc boys not too crazy. Decent value all around, though. Pretty happy with the performance here, the Greenskins. Couple of things could have gone differently, but we will take the win. Practicing my Greenskins because I do think they fit my playstyle quite well. I just have to be willing to do that. 4,200 value on the Nurgle. Quite an insane performance from him. Wow, very little value on those cultists. Maybe he would have been better off going for something else. But decent performance across the board for his units as well. We were keeping pretty similar value if you calculate in the healing. In fact, I'd say if anything, I was a bit behind, but regardless, quite a fun one. Hopefully you did enjoy. Sorry for quite a delay between uploads. Hopefully things pick up as new content drops and we get patches and hopefully things kick back into gear. I don't know if that will be the case with CA, but I'm crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. Regardless, I hope you did enjoy that relatively long and hopefully enjoyable cast. Either way, I will see you next time and talk to you later.